Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Professor Dr. Rizwan Jamil Qureshi. Welcome to the lecture number 18 of Advanced Object-Oriented Software Engineering. What are the main CBD activities? That is the topic of today's lecture. And we already discussed about the domain engineering in the last lecture. That what is domain engineering? Domain engineering is used to categorize the library of reusable components. Whereas the CBD activities are component qualification, component adaptation, and component composition. What do you mean by component qualification? Component qualification means, like for the job advertisement, there is a requirement of candidate, and in terms of what is his qualification or her qualification, what are his certifications, experiences, that's already required. So same, when we want that some component is needed to integrate into the new application, we need to check its qualification, that does it qualify to integrate with the new application, with the new system. So we have to make sure that the selected component perform the required function. It can be easily integrated into the architecture of new application. It exhibits the quality attributes like reliability, performance, usability. Interface specification is one of the documents that can be helpful to determine that selected component can be reused effectively into the new application or not. So we have some criteria for the component qualification. We need to check its API, that what type of API we need to call and use. So what is API? API is the library of reusable components so that components can intercommunicate with each other. So we have the API available to call that component, the selected component. Development and integration tools required by the component. Runtime requirements. Resource required like memory, speed of execution, network protocols, operating system, support from other components, security features, and exception handling. So these are the factors we need to check before we select some component, that does it qualify to meet the requirements. These factors can be easily checked for in-house components because we have the source code, but it is very difficult for the third-party components or commercial off-the-shelf components which are available like SAP, Oracle, Microsoft Dynamics. We call them black box components. Then next activity is component adaptation. Adaptation means customization. That is another name of adaptation. In ideal situation, ideal environment, domain engineering provides the library of reusable components that can be easily integrated into the architecture of new application. But in reality, in practical sense, it doesn't happen. So when we talk about easy integration, means we have consistent method of resource management to implement those components. Common activities like data management exists, so we can import data, export data, and interfaces are compatible with the architecture of new application. There is consistency. Even component qualifies for integration, still there are constraints. like hardware constraints, software constraints, server constraints, protocol constraints. To avoid such constraints, limitations, we use an adaptation technique that is called wrapping or component wrapping. What do you mean by wrapper? We have seen chocolate wrapper or sweet wrappers. So the chocolate or sweet is wrapped, so and there's a outer interface or outer cover is there. So it's hidden, it's embedded. So when we talk about wrapping, we take an existing entity and alter its behavior or interface by embedding it inside a class. We have two types of wrappers. We have adapter and decorator. Adapter is also a pattern that is under the structural patterns. Decorator is also under the structural pattern. There are three types of patterns. We call them design patterns: creational, structural, and behavioral. I'm talking about two types of structural patterns, adapter and decorator. Adapter has its own functionality. It emphasizes on alternating or altering the interface, but it can add some extra functionalities, extra roles, extra behavior responsibilities. Whereas decorator, it alters behavior or responsibilities but not the interface. So alter has the facility to alter the interface, but decorator does not. It only alters behavior or responsibility but not interface. There are two types of strategies to use adapter pattern or wrapper. One is called inheritance, other is called composition. In inheritance, we use extends, and in composition, we use implements. We implement the interfaces. Like we have plugs 3-pin, 2-pin, or plates 3-pin, 2-pin, and we have adapters. Like in America, the electronic equipments or machinery, it's on 110 voltage, but countries like Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, we have 220, and Saudi Arabia we have 110 as well. So if your computer or machinery or washing machine is on 220 voltage or 110 voltage, you import from USA, or laptop, then you need adapter to run it on 220 voltage and vice versa. So adapter has the ability to alter the interface and could add some extra responsibilities, extra functionalities, like toolkit or class library cannot be used directly because its interface is incompatible with the interface of the new application. We cannot change the library interface because maybe we don't have the source code. It's a black box component. Even we have the source code, it's not advisable, it's not recommended that we change the code. So it's better we extend it or we implement interface. Adapters are used to enable objects with different interfaces, like it's one of the APIs, so they can intercommunicate with each other. Like we have legacy application and we have a new application. Legacy application, the old applications developed in Kabul, Pascal, Fortran, and the new application may be in .NET, C#, VB.NET, ASP.NET, PHP, Perl, Java. So we need adapter API to communicate with the legacy application with the new application, and we can import the data and export the data like the ATM system, MADA in Saudi Arabia, or OneLink system in Pakistan. The class adapter and object adapters are there. The class adapter uses inheritance, whereas object adapter use the composition. So class adapter use inheritance in terms of extending the classes, and object adapter use implementing the interfaces. So clients call operations on the adapter instance, and adapter delegates requests to adaptee. When we use adapter, when we want to use an existing class and its interface is not compatible, does not match the need of the new application, or we need to use several existing subclasses and it's impractical to adapt their interfaces by subclassing, and object adapter can adapt the interface of its parent class. What are the implementation issues? How much adapting should be done? Does the adapter provide two-way transparency? Two-way adapter supports both the target and the adaptee interface and allows an adapted object to appear as an adaptee object or target object. Advantages: it allows two or more previously incompatible applications, objects, components to intercommunicate, to interact, and it supports reusability of existing classes, existing functionality. Consequences: a single adapter works with many adaptees, and it's hard to override adaptee behavior. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum.